Thank you for having me.
Now, for people who want to know what uncensored is my way of showing people that even with a learning disability, I can overcome controversy and reach my goals in life. At the same time, I'm able to turn myself into a perfect example for people out there dealing with any type of disabilities or learning disabilities. But you should never give up or have people label you, and you should prove to them you can still amount to something. And it's a half hour, 45 minutes of your time, see how it goes. And it's a normal conversation. So starting off, what can you tell us about yourself?
Well, I grew up in a pretty normal childhood. Born in Queens, New York, Maspeth, Queens, New York in 1989. Lived there for 5 years with my two brothers, Jesse and Tom. Then in 94, I came up to Monroe. Continued and have been living there here since then. Started Sapphire Kindergarten in 95 and graduated in 96, where I eventually met you, of course. Don't you miss those old days?
It depends. What part are we talking about?
Recess, lunch, playtime.
You know, it's funny. I was talking to a couple of customers. You know, I won't mention the store I was working in, and I said, those were the golden ages when we were young. And I don't know if your parents said it to you, but I know they said it to me. Oh, we can't wait for you guys to be older. It's gotta be so much easier. And now they wish to said, oh, we can take it back.
Right.
You know, but you mentioned 96, and that's the first time I met you. That was over at Pine Tree.
Right.
And what teacher did we first have together? Was it Condero or Seaman?
Yes. Then Mrs. Seaman around 98, 99.
I remember that. You know, your friends was a couple of people that I didn't really have the best of luck with. And don't worry, everyone can read that in my book. I don't pussyfoot around. I'm telling my story how it is and what exactly went down. People may deny, but it's the truth. But you know, basically the whole book I'm writing about myself, it's just to show people, hey, this is what I had to go through. You know, I had speech therapy, emotional therapy, I had a whole bunch of therapy. I'm not the same person as I was then that I'm in now. I kind of wish I had my talk show back then because it would have helped me open up some more. But, you know, that's a different story. I don't know, like I said, we are talking about Pine Tree, and then did you go to Monroe Woodbury High School?
Yeah, I went.
And I think I never saw you there over the 4 years.
Maybe I saw you a little bit, but after Pine Tree, I may have saw you around in middle school too, but maybe not too much.
Now, going back to the high school years, what were your favorite classes in high school, number one? And were you ever part of the audio-visual department?
Some of my favorite classes were gym, because I got the exercise, study time, because I was able to have free time too. I was not part of the audio and visual classes. Video, excuse me. Oh, you mean like recording classes?
Well, they're not classes. It was basically, you know, I mentioned this in my book too, how this goofy-ass teacher ruined it for me, then eventually for everyone else. Basically, AV was a big social hangout. And Mr. Earl, who I made his head turn grayer than when it was Father Time, but he was a great guy. I miss talking to Mr. Earl. He really took a liking to me. He let me do my talk show. He let me to do what I'm doing now. He he taught me more about iMovie. He let me work at the coffee houses and the different shows, to work backstage and everything, set things up. If it wasn't for him, I probably wouldn't be doing what I'm doing. Okay, that maybe I would have eventually, but he actually had a plan in it, a part in it.
Right.
But basically, how to describe AV, because you never been there, was basically people went during the lunch periods in study halls, and some other people would cut class or sneak out of class and go over there and not tease her, but I had, I won't mention her name, but you can say any names you want, that's on you, but I have to watch what I say. This teacher came in one day and saw a whole bunch of people just sitting around, and she caused this whole big thing where you had to make rules, had to be there at certain times, and she didn't want to take the blame for it, so she, wink wink, blamed me for the changes, and everyone had an attitude towards me. It's like, yeah, thanks, blame the handicap. Not like I heard that one before. And it was nice, you know. It's now you're Mr. Earl retired. I should have went a year ago, because I've been trying to get videos for my book, and not videos, pictures for my book. Well, if I had videos, I can take still pictures, too. But he retired, now I have no excuse to go there, so I know, I've been trying to go back to the gym and could take some pictures, and the gym doesn't change, apparently. So I can be like, oh, this is 2003, 4, and 5. This is AV, this is how I got my start. I don't know, if you ever want to hang out, maybe we can hang out at the school. But I don't know, I kind of wish I still had it in my yearbooks. And that's a question I was going to ask you. Do you still have your yearbooks?
I do not have the middle school, but I do have high school, I have kindergarten, and I have Pine Trees.
What high school one do you have?
2007. I know you graduated a year before I did.
Right. I had the 2000 I wanted 2003. Didn't get it, didn't have the money. I got 2004, 5, and 6. And during that time, I won't bore you with the details, but there was a lot of people saying, "Yeah, we're friends," and we're not friends, or a lot of bullshit. And I was looking at the yearbooks, and I was looking at the stuff they read in. Oh, you have a special place in my heart, or some BS like that. And I just decided one day, enough, I don't want to look at it because these people didn't mean it. I should have put it away. I wasn't thinking, I just threw them out. Now I'm trying to rebuy them. Go figure. But I don't know, it's just I have mixed emotions. Hanging out with two people. Won't mention names, but well, it's okay. You know, I came up with the morning show. I don't know if you guys still had that when I graduated in 06. But supposedly 07, 08 you guys had the morning show. I don't know. I originally came I'm not, you know, blowing smoke out of my ass. I came up with that idea. I said to Mr. Earl, wouldn't it be nice, we have a radio station and you have TVs in every room, and I said, wouldn't it be nice to do a morning show, have a couple students come on, do this, do that, and it's like, okay, that's great, you want to do it, go do it. And no one would help me with it because it wasn't realistic. And I tried doing my own show. I call it the Keith Andrew Power Hour. I came up with my first paper, and as soon as I saw people would throw it out, I was like, you know, I'm not going to waste my time with this. And I had the Keith Andrew Power Hour. I have the Keith Andrew Show. I had a couple other things. But, you know, it's woulda, coulda, shoulda. But now, that opened the door for me, you know, for the longest time. And then I'm going to pass the show over to you. Last thing I want to say is, when I was in AV, I wanted to be a personal assistant. When I walked into the group, with a movie they always watched every day or once a week was Almost Famous. And that movie had a big influence on my life. And since then, I wanted to be a personal assistant, I wanted to be a roadie, I wanted to go on tour as a band and everything. And then that idea went to the side when I eventually came across Suits. If on a USA show, Suits. Yeah, you can watch it every Wednesday at I think 10 o'clock on USA or 9 o'clock, one of them. And I fell in love with it. I wanted to have a boss like Harvey Specter. I wanted to be like Mike Ross. And I tried acting, you know, it's too much money. And I've been using my learning disability as a crutch. Can't do this, can't do that, can't go to college. And I was like, one day, screw it. I'm going to show people that even with a learning disability, I can still overcome controversy and reach my goals in life. And at the same time, turn myself into a perfect example for people out there dealing with any type of disability, space, and never give up or have people label you. Excuse me, I almost lost my voice. And just basically never give up, have people label you, and just show them you can still mount something. And I use a couple people for my inspiration. That's about it for my. Now I'm going to pass it over to you. Was there any subjects you want to talk about? Any stories you would like to talk about?
Well, I'll continue past high school and about being a musician. So after graduating high school, I went to college to study more about music, and I thought I was going to be going there to be a rock and roller, but there is no classes for except for rock history, but no other classes that really get into rock and roll music, so it had to be either classical or jazz. And I love both of them, but I chose jazz because there's more artistic freedom that you're able to play with, as opposed to classical where you have to play with what's on the paper. Examples like makes tempo, feel. So I joined the SUNY Orange on for a couple of years. Got my associates in jazz performance. Then I moved on to State University of New Paltz. Was there for 3 years. Just graduated from there last December and got my degree this year in bachelor's.
Congrats.
Thank you. Took me 7 long years to get it, but finally got it. And hopefully, I hope to go to grad school at Queens College. Just got to audition first and see what happens. If not, I'll just continue on with playing jazz and rock and roll in the groups that I'm in right now.
No, I didn't mean to interrupt, sorry.
No, it's okay. Do you have any questions about my music or?
Well, I guess you're a real ladies' man, you know, you're a musician and girls like people who play instruments.
That's kind of only if you're really, really good at it and if you're well known. Fortunately, I don't believe I'm really well known, but eventually I'll get there.
Yeah, same here. Hopefully one day I was gonna ask you if you wanted. Actually, I can ask you off the air, but there's an event coming up, but I wanted to run past you. But I can ask you off the air. Now the next question I was gonna ask you two questions. First one is if anyone wants to follow you or any fans, are you on Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn?
Facebook under my name, Matt Barnes, and I play with a group called Living Intermission, so check them out on Facebook.
Hey, you now like a Twitter person?
Not much. I'll be playing with Living Intermission on Wednesday at the OCC Cafe, so if you're around, come by. And that's referring to other people who may be watching.
Right. Now, I'm going to ask you a very sensitive question, and then I'm going to pass the show over to you, and you can ask me anything you want.
Alrighty.
And I know this one will touch the nerve, but it is uncensored. But I never got the chance to talk to you about this.
Okay.
But your father was a hero.
Yes.
And would you mind talking about your father, or is that a touchy subject?
I could talk about it a little bit. I know it's been almost 14 years. It was very tough that year going into 7th grade because gave his life during but I was really happy when Ms. Hayes told all the students to sign a card for me, and I might still have it, but I don't know where it is. Before I get back on this topic, did you know that Ms. Hayes retired this year?
I never had her as a teacher. I have no idea who that is.
Oh, okay. So that was really cool, and my self-confidence came back again. And that's probably one of the main reasons why I'm playing music, because it helped me get through a tough time in my life.
No, I'm real sorry about that. I wish I told you that a lot sooner.
And it's okay.
Now, do you have any funny stories that you remember or you want to share?
Well, he always liked to prank all three of us boys, so one day I got him back at one of the old houses we used to live in Monroe. We had a play fort, and he was talking to one of the little girl neighbors about some, I don't know what it was, but I had a bucket of snow up there too, so I decided that I was going to dump it on him, so I do it, and he yells at me, and I started crying. He could always give pranks, but never could really take it.
That's true. Now, the next question, like I said, this is your time after all. Was there anything you want to ask me or any subjects you would like to talk about?
Let's see. I guess, what do you think of the world as a society today? What do you think should be changed? What could we do better?
As far as what?
Peace, war, finances.
Well, as far as peace goes, see, I am for torture. Do not torture everyone just because you have the power. But if it helps you get information, and if it can save some lives, then it's beneficial. And peace, that would be nice. But if people say it's a human thing, it's not really a human thing. Animals fight. It's survival of the fittest, and if animals can live in peace, we can live in peace, because humans involve peace with other animals, and so it's a whole big thing of bullshit. It's just a big pissing contest, see who's the bigger, or who can go the longest. the economy, from what I've seen, it really isn't getting better. You know, if you've been around the Galleria, for people who don't know what the Galleria is a mall in Middletown, New York. They're closing more stores than anything. If you've been to Woodbury Commons, and for people who don't know what Woodbury Commons is, it's the second biggest mall in North America, and they're expanding. So, I guess it depends. If you have the money, and you're building houses just for the hell of it, you're not selling them. You know, there's a couple of houses around where I am, but one of them eventually got sold. One of them's just sitting there vacant. Basically, if you have money, it's okay. But if you're like you and me, you do your best to get through one day to another. And it's just, I don't know, just do the best you can. Now, wrapping up, was there anything else you wanted to talk about? This is your time, after all.
Yes. Let's see. Are you a big music fan?
Classical or rock and roll?
Anything.
I'm more a rock and roll, alternative, metal. When I was in high school, I was a big goth person. I never had the skin tone for it, but I liked the whole style. I liked the girls that wore it. That was a big influence why I did it. Like, oh, maybe if I wear this, they would like me more. But, you know, I always turn out to be more punker. And that was fun, and, you know, I remember for Halloween and going to ask you, did you ever dress up in any costumes in high school? I know for my freshman year, I was Eric Bischoff. I had a red shirt with a black leather jacket. Then the year after, I was, let's see, sophomore year. I don't remember. 2005, I was a combination of Randy Orton. I looked like Randy Orton, but I acted like Ric Flair. And my senior year, I tried passing myself off as the American Badass, the Undertaker. But everyone kept calling me Neo. But you know, just kind of stuff like that. What about you? Did you ever have any costumes for certain years?
Well, the last time I ever dressed up was 2007. I still have the gorilla costume in my closet. I don't remember the other times that I dressed up. It's been such a long time, though.
Alright. Well, now wrapping up, do you have anything you want to say to your fans and listeners? How can they, like I said, you mentioned this before, but how do you want to plug your Facebook again? And do you have any up and coming shows that you want to tell your fans about?
Well, for my jazz group, nothing yet, but Living in a Mission, which is not my group, it's a friend of mine, Julio Seta's group. You can check his group at Living in a Mission in Facebook, and you can catch us Wednesday night at OCC Cafe in Newburgh. We'll be playing a 15-minute set there. So if anybody's around, come catch us. Check it out.